Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
And my name is David Howe.
And it's us. We got you. Another week. Thank you for coming back. We're talking all about the Direct Mini Partner Showcase that happened. That's going to be our main segment. You watched it. You're excited. You learned.
We watched it too.
We're going to talk about it.
We did indeed watch it. That's our main subject for today. But we're also going to talk about some news. So there's something called Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct happened. I am primarily going to talk about that. None of these guys. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes released. We have some reviews for that. Finally, a confirmation about Michael Jackson working on Sonic 3. Some more Chris Pratt Mario animated movie. Thoughts and feelings, and more Metroid Prime rumors, and so much more. How are y'all doing?
Yeah, doing all right. As a full disclosure, we have not seen the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase yet. We're recording this section of the show a day ahead of time. But
we said we did.
Look, I don't like to lie to our fans.
Okay.
I don't know. I could also cut this out, but we're
gonna be wearing different clothes,
right? So
right, exactly. Or am I?
We better wear the same shit tomorrow when we record. But anyway, but yeah, so it's kind of a crazy week. So this episode we're kind of hodgepodging together, but it's gonna be a fun one. I've had a pretty good week. I think this past week it's been like a little strange. I did see the movie Elvis the other day, which I loved. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a great movie and everybody should go see it. It was like a super psychedelic experience, which is not what you think of when you think of Elvis, is like psychedelia and bombacity. Maybe you do, but it was great. It was Baz Luhrmann, who has obviously done like Moulin Rouge and Romeo plus Juliet and stuff like that. So he's definitely got a crazy style, but great movie. Really worth watching. I really enjoyed it.
I also went to the movies. I saw Top Gun Maverick.
Nice.
Did you guys see that yet?
No, not yet.
Oh my God, so much fun.
Yeah. I've only heard good things about Top Gun Maverick.
It's exactly what you want. Just lots of plane footage, in cockpit footage, and big whooshing boom and bass sounds from planes.
Very good. What about you, Patrick? You see any movies this week?
No, but I did get to do a comedy show with David, which was a lot of fun.
That was a blast.
And I also got to witness our country slide further towards fascism.
Oh yeah,
with the Roe v. Wade being overturned. So that was not as fun, but
not at all.
But it happened.
Dude, it feels like a nightmare, right? Does anybody else feel like it's a nightmare you can't wake up from?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, we're going to move on to the next portion of the show. Last week, we did an episode on Mario Strikers. And also, we talked about Xenoblade, and DCD in the Discord said we should cancel David for wanting that to be the last Xenoblade game, the third one.
Well, then you'll need to cancel Matt as well, because he agreed with me.
But then DCD did agree with you that he didn't pick up Mario Strikers for the same reasons you did, and that the slow drip is rough, and that he likes Mario Golf a lot, but doesn't like how they rolled it out.
It was a real back and forth, It's like for a second, DCD was my enemy, and then the next second, he was my best friend.
Yep.
Yeah.
But interestingly, our friend Dylan Muss from Geekverse on our YouTube made a comment about how it's a good discussion, and thinking back when he guested to talk about Mario Golf, feels kind of more satisfied with the content that Mario Golf had compared to Strikers, even though he's a big fan of the Strikers game and really likes the mechanics in this one, and so on, and had some comments also about my theory about the goalie getting worse, which I'm not so sure about now that I've played more, but he says that there are hyper strikes increased in the last minute, and I definitely I feel that way. So, And then Matt Hobby wants Mario Jamaican bobsled, for what it's worth.
I think that would be an excellent game as long as they release all the content on day one.
Yeah, as long as day one. And then lastly, our friend Michael Domang, Mikey Dodo, tagged us on Twitter as they went to a wrestling event, Forbidden Door, and they had made a bunch of video game signs, which is pretty cool. Fix Sonic 3, and if Aerith dies, we riot among them. And also one about the slow slide of our country into fascism. Or fast slide. I don't know. Whatever you want to think. So
Fascist slide.
Fascist
slide.
Anyway, yeah, we do appreciate hearing from our viewers and listeners. And so we also appreciate if you share the podcast online. And if you would please like and subscribe on YouTube. And let's get into that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct. Wow, Nintendo gave us like a whole, how long was that? That was long. 20 something minutes. Do you remember, Matthew?
Yeah.
24 minutes and 24 seconds.
Ooh, 24. Wow, there's a lot of story and like the cinematics and like, man, I remember I was watching that. I was like, when are we gonna see the gameplay? It was like not till a good 10-15 minutes in, it felt like.
How it starts in like in a theater on a stage with characters and spotlights.
Yeah. See, when they started showing the gameplay, that's kind of when I started tuning out a little bit. Like this, the story stuff was what was more exciting to me about that presentation.
Yeah,
I did watch the whole presentation though.
Wow, I was impressed. What did you think, Matthew, as the big Xenoblade fan?
I was also impressed. I'm excited for the lore implications in the story, how it connects to Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2. I've said that multiple times. But also some of the gameplay that I'm most excited for is the ability to switch between all 6 characters during combat.
Yes.
That seems wild.
Yeah. Well, like just to give Patrick's 2 big moments from this that might sell me on this game, that was one of them, that you can actually jump around as the other characters in a battle, because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3 have that like what's it called, topple something launch mechanic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like launch and slam.
Yeah, and you do them in that order to get the whatever. But I always had trouble with that in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I felt like, well, it's not all on me. You know what I mean? It's on these characters who I can't control somewhat. And being able to, I feel like if you can jump around, maybe you can, I don't know. Or like when you aren't getting healed by your healer and you're not playing the, stuff like that, where it's like, oh, okay, if I can jump to who I feel like I need to, that's cool. And then the other thing that jumped out at me is that mapping system. One of my other big complaints about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was the verticality of the levels and stuff. And like, you have this thing pointing you in a direction, but it doesn't tell you if it's up or down, and it would get really hard to navigate. But now they have this thing you can turn on, and it kind of shows you a path of where to go, like up a ramp. That one screen, like I took a screenshot of like, the line goes up the ramp.
Yeah, there was a part on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Many of the side quests in the world of All Rest will tell you to get somewhere, but it's like above you. I don't know if this is what you're referring to, Patrick. So you're trying to like travel to where the dot is on the map, and you're under it, but it's actually above you.
How do I get there? Yeah, exactly. Or exactly. Yeah, like I need to go in that direction. But do I need to go down? And then, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. It caused me, I probably lost hours in that game to that.
Small quality of life change.
Yeah. What else do you want to talk about? I feel like there was a lot here. I have
a question.
Yeah.
There are some characters in this that don't have British accents. Are they from a different country, or what's the deal? Do they just have American accents? Some characters just have American accents.
Pyra and Mithra had American accents.
Yeah,
I thought they were all British. Interesting.
And the Nopon have whatever accent that is.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I thought the characters looked cool. I thought the idea of them having limited lifespans is kind of interesting. They're just like made. Yeah. They're kind of made for
Logan's
battle,
Run.
and they know they're going to expire. You know what I mean? So I found that to be that'll be like an interesting part of the story. But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty wild. Looks pretty Xenoblade.
Yeah. I think Xenoblade, what you're just saying about the story, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, where they have short, limited lifespans, which is 10 years of life. That they call like the life flame. I think this leads me to believe that maybe this one will be the darkest thematically, because all these games are about war and the war against capital W war, the big war machine, but also the idea of survival and fighting against fate.
And war is literally the setting as well of like a lot of these games. You know, like Xenoblade 1, you're like stuck in battle, like on the armor of a knight.
Yeah, and it's wild to think like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is you're on these mechanical or organic beings. Literally, they were fighting and you survive on these beings. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you are warring on the back of titans, and this one you are born for war and you spend 10 years of your life fighting, only to have your life force either be sucked up by the enemy or go back to your own side. It's just going to be very dark.
Yeah.
Just in nature, and I think it's gonna start off really, really grim before maybe there's a big story turn where.
And they play flutes.
Ah, yeah,
dude. There was a lot of footage of that.
That's how you pass the soul, the life force on.
Renew. Anyway, I'm trying to make Logan's Run references.
Yes.
Nobody is jumping.
I saw that at the Paramount Theater once, and I had a very good time.
You also can like take some of these characters and combine them, right? There's this whole other new mechanic. Ouroboros. Yeah, which is, and then it matters which way you combine them and stuff like that. And they have different like things they can do. So wow, they love to pack in, systems in these Xenoblade games.
Yeah, if you can control 6 of the main characters, but then you can also control this other combined character, which Ouroboros is 2 combined, then that further allows you to have more control and kind of have more ideas to play in combat.
And then there'll be a 7th slot for you to kind of rotate in characters, and a new class system sort of is happening in this game as well.
There was a pixelated character there. I noticed in the trailer they didn't want to show you all of them.
Oh, that's right.
Which makes me think it's Shulk or Rex or one of the previously playable characters.
Yeah. And I'm, if there's anything else you want to talk about, Matt, we can, but also the expansion pass is sort of, they didn't spend a lot of time on it, but they ended with the fact that there is a $30 expansion pass DLC, and that, by the end of 2023, there's going to be a new story scenario, whatever you want to call it.
There'll be like a Torna for it.
Torna.
Yeah.
So a second expansion of the game or whatever, as well as, I guess, little things that trickle out between now and then, but.
That is available to pre-order now, but you don't need a pre-order DLC before a game comes out. Can we make that not a thing?
Yeah, I buy it at launch if you need to have the little items, helpful items.
Yeah,
they give you.
Yeah.
Overall, like I think this direct is probably for people like me who are like, I played some of the other one, but I'm not sure. But some of those quality of life things in the story do kind of might tip me over. You know what I mean? If not also for people that are mega fans, but they were probably going to get it already, right? So I don't know if it's really going to tip me over, because we'll see how I'm feeling in September. I think,
I'll let you know. I'm going to play it. So
yeah, you let me know.
Yeah.
Wait, you're going to get this game, Matt?
Yeah. Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Can we talk
July?
about?
I said September because that was the original date, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And they moved it up to July.
Yeah. Next month.
I think talk about lore. Can we talk about lore just a little bit?
Are we still talking about this game? Sure.
Yeah, of
we're
course.
gonna talk about.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Super Banana Mania.
Hey, we didn't do okay. You guys keep going.
Yeah. So something interesting is so we have these 2 warring nations, Kevis and Agnes, which look to be led by possibly High Entia, which might be Melia from Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and possibly someone that looks like Nia from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Right. These 2, and then they have to work together.
Right. Yeah. So the fun thing about this is there's a war, these 2 battling nations, maybe led by 2 characters that we're already familiar with. And the Ouroboros, the characters that combine, those are characters from the two warring nations. So it's a person from Kevis and a person from Agnes. And this is kind of what I speculate is the answer to like stop to fight against the 10 years of life is that you have to, it's a theme where you have to come together to form a being called Ouroboros in order to sustain your life rather than warring against each other. That's a quick bit. So if you tuned out, welcome back. But if you stayed in tuned to the Xenoblade Chronicles lore, David's checking his watch. I'm excited for what this lore means and how it connects to some of the other Klaus and Conduit stuff.
Nice. Well, another game that did come out this past week is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, the sort of Warriors sequel to Fire Emblem 3 Houses. It's been doing all right, I guess, in terms of sales, and it's got an 80 on Metacritic. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but it also sold well in the UK. It topped the physical charts there, which I think is saying something, right? Like there's a big fandom, and at least I think the fact, that years ago Fire Emblem games weren't even coming to the West, and now a spin-off Fire Emblem game is
tops the charts.
Yeah.
I think from what I'm understanding from a lot of the reviews is that this is the best Nintendo Muso game yet, right? It works in the Three Houses world and characters really, really well, and a lot of the systems from that game work into this really well, and that a lot of the actual like moment-to-moment gameplay has been improved, but is still the same formula, right? So I don't think that this is going to necessarily win over people who aren't Muso fans that aren't already massive Three Houses fans. It doesn't mean like, okay, like go get it because it's the best one so far, right? But it's like, if you're a fan of Three Houses and you enjoyed other games in this Warriors series on the Switch and are looking for another one that's the best one yet, sounds like a good pickup.
Can we just talk about the lore implications here? I'm just kidding. I don't.
I'm trying to stop.
I don't think the three of us know that, but
I don't know anything.
But moving on, Summer Games Done Quick is underway. SGDQ is happening, and I believe it's happening through the 4th of July. Around then.
Yep.
So
usually goes Sunday to Sunday.
A handful more days after this podcast releases. Check that out. I haven't not had a chance to see anything. Is anybody have you seen anything, David?
I've seen a couple fun runs already. I watched a Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance run. There was a rolled out run, which I have not watched yet, but I'm about to check that one out. That was it's like kind of a Super Monkey Ball spin-off clone thing. And then there was a Link's Awakening race that was really, really close. That one got within like 10 seconds of each other. So that was pretty exciting seeing those runners go head to head on that one. So yeah, make sure you donate generously. This is benefiting Doctors Without Borders. And yeah, it's always a good time.
And I guess another game that came out recently is Sonic Origins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I never realized this, that I guess I did know that Michael Jackson, famously worked on the Sonic 3 soundtrack, correct?
Yeah.
But like never credited. That's
never credited and never confirmed. It was basically like he was a big Sonic fan and everybody knew he was a big Sonic fan. And so then he started writing songs for it. But then this is right when all those first accusations started coming out against Michael Jackson in the 90s, right? And there was a big public trial on TV and everything with Michael Jackson. And so basically Sega was like, yep, let's just not ever talk about that ever again. But then because Sega loves to re-release Sonic games, that has been the one Sonic game that's never really been re-released, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or at least in recent memory. And I think a lot of that was because the rights for the music lapsed and they didn't really want to renew it because it was Michael Jackson music and it was problematic for that reason. So Yuji Naka who was the creator of Sonic, has been just on a tweeting spree recently. Definitely a worthwhile follow. He tweets a lot of like super spicy takes these days. But he was like, I can't believe that they changed the music in Origins, which they did for the re-release. But Sega has like done Michael Jackson TikToks before, like using like Michael Jackson music, and he was like pointing out the hypocrisy of it, basically. And so that was basically all the confirmation that fans have needed that Michael Jackson indeed was one of the composers of the Sonic 3 soundtrack. So it's just kind of like a long historical, gaming moment that has been finally confirmed.
I think he also tweeted out a picture from like a helicopter of a picture of Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch. That's just like,
oh, really?
Like Neverland. I miss it.
Yeah.
Like
so he's probably visited. Yuji Naka's probably visited Neverland.
Yeah.
Well, he was here in the state. Like Yuji Naka, like lived in the U.S. for a long time and like worked for Sega, like in the U.S. with the kind of Sonic team. And so it's like he's definitely wouldn't surprise me if they rode a few rides over there on that ranch. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. Definitely, like I said, follow Yuji Naka on Twitter. Just for his takedowns alone are very, very entertaining to witness.
So we all know that when we think of Mario, we think of Chris Pratt and his upcoming performance. But as maybe what we can all agree on is that Chris Pratt is going to voice Mario in the upcoming movie. At least that's what we're being told. And recently, I guess in an interview with Variety, he talked about how, for the voice of Mario, I believe the exact quote is, it's like, unlike anything is the phrase that's in all these headlines and stuff.
Unlike anything you've heard.
So I think it was maybe Swampy Southpaw on our Discord who was like, that's exactly what we don't want. That's like exactly what you don't want, right? Like I mean, he's just out there doing press for this, and can't really talk about it, and we can't hear it yet, but that is a little worrisome. Not that it wasn't already worrisome. That
my Mario voice is unlike anything ever heard before. That's how I read
the best Mario.
The best Mario, folks. He's the best. He's a plumber. America. Anyway, this is
pretty good. It's pretty good, David.
No, that's not. You don't have to.
That's a pretty good Mario, is what I'm saying.
He's like, folks, these turtles, we got to stop them.
Oh, yeah. You're from the Mushroom Kingdom.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, yeah. What do you guys think about this?
Let's see it. Show us. Let us hear it. Put out a trailer, a teaser. Let's just hear It's a Me Mario in the voice. 25-second teaser.
It's going to be like, it's me, Mario.
In a world.
It's me. It's Mario.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know what to say about this news story, Patrick.
I don't either. We'll move on. It's just weird, and it's just another reminder that Chris Meledandre is the one to blame. Not
Shiggy.
Not Shigeru Miyamoto. They agreed together to delay it.
What does this mean for the lore implications of the Mario cinematic universe?
Next story.
MCU. Fall Guys, the online multiplayer game that was a big hit. When was that? A couple years ago. Is now free to play, and it also released on the Switch, like at the same time, right? Like when it switched to being free to play, or around the same time.
Yeah, same day.
And I think there were maybe some issues at first, but that's been resolved. But the Switch version is out, and I think in part due to that, and probably because it's free to play now, it's like topped out at like 20 million players right away, and that's probably why they had some of those problems. So I've heard that it doesn't look great on the Switch, but that it runs okay, and it just looks like butt. Is that right? Has anybody tried it?
I haven't tried it. I wouldn't call that accurate. I have tried it. I've played a little bit recently. I think the game looks fine. I think the problem is when there are 64, is it 64 or just 60 players? I think it's 60. Whenever there are 60 players on screen at once, like whenever it starts, all the other characters are running at like 5 frames a second. You know what I mean? And like some of them just T-pose and like float around, you know? And so it's like, as you get further and further in the rounds and there are less and less characters on screen, everybody starts moving around at a full 60 frames per second. But at first, whenever you first start the game, when there's the most people on screen, it's just like a weird slideshow. Yeah, your character moves correctly and fine. The stage moves correctly and fine at the right speed. But yeah, it's just everybody else looks like trash.
So if you're really bad at this game and never make it out of the first round, it always looks bad.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I mean, you know, and it's got lots of little optimization issues. Like I'll say it's not a good port, right? I mean, it's serviceable and it works fine. But unfortunately, yeah, the Switch port is not great. You know, I had a couple crashes. When you open up like the friend menu, the thing just like barely chugs along. I keep thinking my Switch is just going to die. But it's nice to have it on there. I mean, finally, I think that, you know, and it's nice that it's free. It's definitely worth trying. But don't expect like a perfect port.
Well, Nintendo is having a summer sale. There's some other digital sales going on, right? Like the Steam sale, but Nintendo's big ol' super sale is what they have branded it as. It's happening now through July 6th. There's a handful of first party games that are on sale for like $42, which, you know, if you want a digital copy of some of these and you don't have them, I suppose this is a good time to get it. You know, you got your Mario Odyssey, Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze, Paper Mario, Origami King, Pikmin 3, that kind of stuff. So if you've been holding off on one of those, might be a good time to check it out, as well as a bunch of other games are on sale, right?
The name of the sale and the graphic they use for it screams, oh shit, we forgot to make graphics or a name for this sale. Until right before we launched it. It's like
it's definitely a template.
Like, yeah, it's like a boilerplate vaporwave background, and it's called Big Ol' Summer Sale or Big Ol' Super Sale or something like that. It's like clearly like an intern was like, oops, I was supposed to do that 2 weeks ago. All right, let's throw something together. But there's some good deals for sure. I've been peeping around that Steam sale currently. It's one of the best Steam sales I've had in a while. It's a lot of like the sales of old. I think there's definitely some gems in here worth checking out.
That intern is just crying now, David, because
they listened.
They listened and they poured their heart into that graphic.
They made the grid and the purple and the sun. There's a million of them on Google Images, but they made that one.
Oh boy!
If I associate anything with the '80s and the vaporwave aesthetic, it's Big Ol'.
Big ol'. It's a big ol' vaporwave.
Just imagine a robot saying that.
Big ol'.
Next up is we've talked about Metroid Prime games and remasters, remakes, trilogies. Been rumored for a super long time that these games are coming to the Switch, but once again, it's in the news. In particular, Jeff Grubb most recently. I think there's been some other people talking about this too, but has said that Metroid Prime Remastered, like the first one, is going to release this year around November for the 20th anniversary. And his take on it is that it's a little bit more of a remaster than 2 and 3, which will happen later. And there's been some other rumors about those as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the rumor is that 2 and 3 will be a lot more bare bones of a remake, just like kind of an up-res. Well, 1 will get the full remake treatment. But then, I mean, there have been some other like Nintendo rumor accounts online. But ones that I follow in particular, Dove Gray, Yo Infinite Takes, said that 2 and 3 will be coming to Nintendo Switch Online service, which would be insane. That kind of was like the weird. I was almost like, that just doesn't even sound right. So if that ends up happening, then I think that will legitimize that leaker in my mind. But
I could see Nintendo wanting to throw a game or something like that, on it for free that they also sell. Yeah, but
if what we're saying is true, then maybe the packaging might be Metroid Prime remaster. releases, and then 2 and 3 are considered DLC as part of Metroid
Yeah,
Prime.
maybe that's it. And
Yeah.
then you get it for free if you have NSO or something. Yeah.
Either way, yeah. I mean, I think that it makes sense. Like, this is what I was saying earlier when we were talking about Nintendo E3 predictions or whatever, like a Nintendo Direct prediction, was that, like, I do think that we've got holes for later in the year, right? I think like this as a holiday game makes a lot of sense. Be it like in earlier November or even in December, I think it makes a lot of sense for this year.
And then just a fun news item to close this out that just has come up is apparently John Cena, the wrestling performer / actor. Apparently back in 2017 when he went to go like shoot a Nintendo ad for the Switch and told the Nintendo reps there that he wanted a 2D Metroid game, a new 2D Metroid game. This comes from Dan Reichert. And so I think some other people have actually corroborated this. Some people who worked for Nintendo as well, saying that he did indicate how much of a Metroid fan he was. And then when Dread came out, apparently Nintendo sent it to him and he enjoyed it. So that's fun for John Cena. Good for him. You just get free stuff if you're famous, apparently.
Just like one of us.
Just like one of us. They just ship him games for free.
Yeah. They put him on commercials. They make games that he asks for.
They pay him to give him games.
They were like, oh shit, fucking John Cena wants another 2D Metroid. Get those Spaniards on it.
We all have John Cena to thank for Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
Well, I think that does it for our news section then. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase that just happened. All right, we are back. And we are talking.
We're in different clothes.
For podcast listeners, we might not really be back. It might be a day later. But we're here to talk about the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase that just happened on June 28th. We got a 20-something minute third-party game Direct. The partner showcase is back. We haven't had one since the end of 2020. We thought they were gone, but here they are. How did we feel about this?
I'll tell you, this does not feel like the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcases of old, right? Gone are the days of shovelware Bakugan games, and in are the better ones. I mean, this kind of feels to me, and feel free to jump in. But this kind of feels to me like Nintendo had a full Direct and then just kind of split out all the third-party stuff into its own thing, right? Did you guys kind of... Because it feels like these would all be at home in a regular Direct, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we talked about this, but, whenever we were predicting, it was like, it feels like they've said a lot of stuff that's coming out this year. And so, like, this is them being like, well, maybe we better slow our roll here. But we've got all these contractual obligations. We can put together something pretty good with this,
Yeah, I think this. I agree with that sentiment, David. Where we have like these big releases. We open up with Monster Hunter, and then we got Harvestella, and then a bunch of smaller releases, some indie games, and then kind of like some remakes too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of like maybe games that were part of the original Nintendo Direct, plus some additional ones. We're like, we need to fill up space.
Mm-hmm.
Let's throw some other big, medium to small sized games in this partner showcase.
Yeah, as somebody watching it too, to make this list of games and release dates, I was kind of frustrated that usually in a Direct they have like. They show the name of the game and then they show the name again with the date it's coming out. They didn't do that for a handful of these, and I wonder if those are the ones they squeezed in. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have the titles cards.
Oh, interesting.
At the end.
Yeah, because these varied in quality. The videos varied in quality and with like direction of some of the videos, but also like a production from like an end-to-end final product.
Yeah, my theory here is that, yeah, I think if there had been an E3 this year, this would have looked different, right? I think Nintendo basically was like, okay, fuck, we don't have to do this now. Let's slow our roll a little bit. We don't have to crunch on getting this stuff out. I imagine we're either going to see another little direct within the next month or so, or we're going to start getting a lot of Twitter drops, right, for their first party stuff that we would have seen in this E3 direct. And then I think everything's going to be back to smooth sailing around September, right? But either way, this felt pretty good. And from what I've been reading online, I think a lot of people were really happy with this partner showcase. So I'm definitely excited to jump into some of it.
Yeah, like last comment before we jump into it, which is I think now that we know what a partner showcase is, and we've had 3 of them in 2020, and they were all varying levels of disappointment, you could come into this with a little bit of the right expectations, and with those expectations, it hit and or exceeded them.
I agree. Yeah. Pleasantly surprised by a Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase.
Well, without any further delay, we'll walk through this. We might, gloss over some of the ones we don't care as much about. But Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak was the opening, and I had to make a note here because it was long. It was like 3.5 minutes of this, and I felt like it was long, but that was fine. They had a lot to show, I guess. So that's the DLC for Monster Hunter Rise. It's coming out on June 30th. And one of the things they showed off as well is kind of how they'll continue to support that over time. I know we're not huge Monster Hunter people, so I don't know if there's anything y'all have to say about that.
Massive expansion. I like that. I like that verbiage.
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes to be made there.
What kind of jokes?
Dick ones mostly.
Okay, yeah, those kind. I'm familiar. I think I didn't realize this was 3.5 minutes. That goes to show Nintendo's and Capcom's continued developing relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was long. Like I mostly because I went back and rewatched this to make notes, and that's where I was like scrolling, and I was like, when? All right.
Mm-hmm.
But then so that's a strong opening, or like maybe contractually a big opening. I don't know.
It was a good presentation regardless.
Yeah, we all know about it. But then we had our first, surprise, though I think we maybe heard some rumors of this, which is Nier Automata, the End of Yorha edition. And I'm sure I'm saying that wrong because I've not played the game. But coming out October 6th. A lot of October releases here, for what it's worth, or it felt like it to me. Looking at this, maybe that's not true, but
and more 2023 than I was expecting in this as well.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise. But this is a popular game that not on Switch, but now will be. So are either of you guys played Nier?
I've never played Nier. A lot of people on Discord were echoing a sentiment that I felt, which is, I can play this now, or I'm more compelled to play it on my Switch.
Yeah, it seems like a good fit for Switch, right? I think a lot of this presentation is, oh shit, yeah, that would be nice to play on my Switch. You know what I mean? Even if you could get this in other or even potentially better places. This seems like a really great fit. I think it's $40, I think, is the retail price for this, which seems like a good price. Another theme here is that a lot of stuff was pretty well priced from this direct, which is good because it was filled with a lot of ports. But yeah, I think this is looking good. I don't know that this is going to get me to play this game right now. I mean, I want to play it at some point, but it's nice to know that we have the option to take it portably because it seems like a great game for that.
An unusual looking game called Lorelei and the Laser Eyes was next. This is one of those 2023 games, so that was, and it's just kind of a, I don't know, weird to me looking puzzle game. I think the sort of oddness is part of its charm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had something to say about this one, David, right? In the Discord, you said something. This might be.
Yeah, this is by the same developers as Sayonara Wild Hearts, which was an excellent kind of stylized Annapurna produced rhythm kind of shooter game. And this may or may not be a sort of spin-off of that game or feature some characters from that game. But either way, it seems like it's got a lot of style to it. And this is one that really stood out to me right off the bat as kind of like a adventure sort of mystery game with a lot of like kind of psychedelic elements. This is looking pretty cool. This was the first of the 2023 games where it was like, oh, okay, shit, they're showing this off pretty early for what it is. They must have a lot of faith in it if they're showing it off at this point.
Yeah, a couple more 2023 following it as well. Super Bomberman R2, which is interesting. And didn't they pull down the Bomberman Online game or say they were going to?
I think they're about to retire it, right? But they did show footage in this of that game,
so it's
running in this. So it looks like they're taking down the free version in order to rope it into this game, which probably makes sense. I don't think it was very successful on its own. And then this way it doesn't have to just rely on, microtransactions in order to keep it running like it was before. Hopefully they fix some of the netcode as well, because that Super Bomberman R Online was actually really fun. It just had like debilitatingly long load times in between matches. So hopefully they've used some of that time to suss some of that out, because it's a really fun mode. Did you guys play Bomberman R?
I never got around to it.
It's one of the first games that I bought on a Switch release. Had some friends come over and we played. We watched each other play Breath of the Wild and then played Bomberman.
Yeah. I mean, I got lots of memories of playing old Bomberman games. Super Bomberman are not among them. But I will say it didn't really look like they're adding too much to this. I mean, they showed off one new mode. I don't know if this is going to entice players. I think I think a lot of the sales of that first Super Bomberman R game were due to the fact that it was one of the only games out when this system launched. So it'll be interesting to see how much this actually sells, or if anybody's actually interested.
Yeah, that new game mode, which is like a tower defense game mode. We'll see.
I'll take it. I'm just happy to see Konami making any games, man.
We got a Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, also dated for 2023. So they continue to package all the Mega Man games in these collections and release them. That's cool. I guess it sounded like it's one package physically, two digitally.
That's what they've been doing with all of these, I think. Yeah. You guys ever play any of these games?
One thing before we talk about this, the transition between Bomberman and Mega Man was one of your examples of where they didn't have the release date of Super Bomberman, but it just like went straight into Mega Man.
Yeah,
like they were connected.
Making these notes several times, I kept rewinding and being like, "Am I missing the like title card here?" Because it was the first one, and then I was like, "There's no, it's just a legacy collection." Yeah.
Well, I'm not complaining with that. I mean, I thought we were kind of going back to the overall thoughts.
Yeah.
But I thought this presentation was really well paced out. This whole thing.
I agree.
Never bored. I think Nintendo's starting to get the shit down to a science, right? So even if it was a late ad, you're not getting any complaints from me. Keep doing that going forward. I'm okay with that.
I just feel like it was noticeable for me because it's the first time I've ever had that experience where they don't have the date up on screen. And it happened on several games. Anyway, I've never played a Battle Network game.
I've never played them. The grid battle doesn't appeal to me too much. But but you've played these, David?
No, not really. I mean, I've played games that are derivative of them since it's come out, but I've always wanted to go back and check some of these out. So I mean, I'm a fan of the X collection. I have the ZX and Z collection and the original Mega Man. So it's like I think Capcom's putting together really great collections of these. So I'll definitely pick at least one of these up. I'll have to do my research on which of the two I'd want to pick up. But this seems like a great sale snag at some point. So I'm excited for that one for sure.
We got next up Pac-Man World Repack, which meaning the sort of a remaster of Pac-Man World, which I think this was maybe the first time this has been announced, but I think there was some hints of this, right? When they talked about a redesigned Miss Pac-Man a while back. Am I correct about that?
The Pac-Man arcade museum release that they put out recently had a redesigned, I think Pac Mom is what they called her, which is I don't know, a little patriarchal, if you ask me, to assume that she's a mom. But she went from a Ms. to a Mrs. pretty quick. That's all I'm saying. But this was a surprise to me. It's funny to see the redesigned Ms. Pac-Man in this. But yeah, I mean, I'm a kind of like a closeted Pac-Man fan. I've always loved Pac-Man and all of its versions. I like the 2D games. I like the 3D games. So this one definitely hits a nostalgia bone for me. I'll definitely be checking this one out at some point.
It's one of the ones coming sooner, August 26th. Next up was an interesting looking game called Blanc, where you play as like a combo fox and wolf cub that have become friends in sort of this arty stylized black and white. I don't know. It just kind of looked interesting and pretty.
This felt like a Patrick game to me.
Yeah,
was this interesting?
That's why I'm the person that's excited about this one. I like animal games and this art style.
And it's fully cooperative, right?
Yeah, and I like that too. Like any sort of 2-player puzzle game kind of appeals to me.
This appeals to me too.
Cool.
They talk a little bit about the gameplay. They said that there's no text or like no dialogue, and that appeals to me. To like a lot of the communication between these animals are done by like the nonverbals or their environment, kind of telling the story. I love that.
I always forget you don't know how to read, Matt. So
right? Yeah.
As well.
That's one of the things that's really hard. Is I have words on my shirt right now, but I don't know what they say.
Yeah,
actually,
it says Garfield on your shirt.
Oh, yeah, I know that's Garfield.
I don't know why they wrote it too, but they did.
Don't ask me to spell Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah, that one's coming out in February of 2023. So that was an unusual, another like interesting that they wanted to show this one off 8 months ahead of time. But there you go. And then we got Return to Monkey Island, which has already been announced on some other channels. But I think this might be the most they've shown of this game. Is that?
I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of gameplay here. What do you guys think about this art style? It's pretty striking. I don't know that I like it.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like I don't hate it, but I don't know that I love it either.
I feel like the characters aren't very expressive, right? They're all a little dead-eyed. I don't know.
I had a hard time interpreting the gameplay from the footage.
Yeah.
Like when was something a cinematic or in-game footage versus when you're controlling the characters.
Well, I certainly got the feel that this is very much in that old kind of point and click adventure style, right? I'd be very surprised if it wasn't.
No, I think it was based on some stuff I read or is. And even I saw stuff interestingly to Matt's comment. It was like, it looks like the gameplay is going to be just like the originals. But it was like, yeah, but that's kind of hard to see. But it's also by the nature of it kind of hard to see.
Yeah. It definitely is a unique and striking aesthetic, right? This is one of those things Matt and I talked about this in our E3, not E3 episode, but what was that? When Dusk Falls, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. It's another game where it's like I'm watching the trailer and it's like this aesthetic is not doing it for me, right? But it might be another thing where it's like in practice, it's actually. You get used to it quickly, or it works with the narrative. Right?
As Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls.
That's the one where they have like 2D character conversations. Like it's like a graphic novel, but there's no animation between the characters.
Yeah, it's almost like rotoscoped, And so this is obviously not that, but it's a similar sort of aesthetic hurdle for me, right? So I mean, I'm a big fan of the Monkey Island franchise. I played a lot of those games when I was a kid. So I mean, I'm definitely interested, but hopefully this is a game that I think would benefit really well from a demo.
Next up, they showed off Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, the new Mario and Rabbids game. And I think this first time we got our official date on this, if I'm not mistaken, of October 20th. And they showed off a decent amount of this, but they also said that it's going to be featured at an Ubisoft presentation or I think a game-specific presentation, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me. The same day the podcast comes out, so we can't really talk about that yet.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of answers a question that we had earlier about, is Ubisoft doing an E3 presentation? It seems like the only game they really have to show is this one, right? So it was nice to see it in this direct, and I'm looking forward to seeing more about it. I was kind of really surprised at the direction this game is taking, right? Like, it looks like they're ditching the grid system, right? And it's now more of an area of effect sort of situation.
They showed, I believe they already talked about how you can freely move, but that didn't inherently, to me, like you're saying, mean that it wasn't a grid, but now it does feel that way, right? And also the fact that you can pick to go into the battles felt a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they showed like you attack an enemy on sort of the overworld map and then you go into a battle. And that makes me wonder, is the battle not the main mechanic? Like, it definitely kind of felt like there was maybe more going on in the overworld too, with like, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll learn more after. People who are listening might know more than us. So,
well, I mean, I think it's a great evolution of the ideas of the first one, right? Because the first one was surprisingly good, and it caught a lot of people off guard with how good it was. But at the end of the day, it was a grid-based, turn-based strategy game, right? And so it's like, this seems to have a lot more fluidity to it. It seems like a lot more moment-to-moment gameplay is going to happen out of this. I love the idea of there just being kind of a circle around where your character is, and anything within there you can hit. It's a really cool spin on a tactical RPG. And I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to be tuning in tomorrow to see more about this game. And if it's anywhere near the quality of the first one, we've got another hit on our hands.
After this, we might have a few that I don't know if y'all are interested in these. I wasn't super struck by these games. Little Noah, Scion of Paradise was like a out now game, sort of a 2D game.
Yeah, it's like a action roguelike with, I guess, Bravely Default character designs.
Yeah, sort of chibi,
yeah. Very much looked like Bravely Default 2 character designs, but kind of looks like pretty run-of-the-mill action roguelike, to be honest.
Okay. This is by Side Games, who also did Dragalia Lost.
Also looks a lot like Dragalia Lost now that you say that. Maybe even more like that. Yeah.
So this is probably why they stopped supporting Dragalia Lost, so they could actually like move forward with a real console release. Interesting. I want to look into some reviews of this one for sure. That really just piqued my interest, Matt.
And then they showed off Railgrade, which is a railroad sim game coming out in September.
Too many railroads on top of each other. I'll tell you that.
Why do you need all those lines?
Too many. It's too many.
Yeah.
Just drive a car.
I did enjoy the fact that I also had the same thought that there are too many railroads.
Yeah.
And then later they showed like there were not enough railroads. Like
you can never have enough railroads. Yeah.
You need to connect them. Yeah. This did pique my son's interest though.
I was gonna say, I bet your son
loves Cities Skylines. He's obsessed with it. He figured out how to play it and he was like, I want to get that game. I was like, well, maybe we will. And then a sort of interesting looking game, but it did not really appeal to me. RPG Time, The Legend of Wright. And the idea behind this being there's like a kid who's making a role-playing game in their notebook. And I thought it was really funny too. They're like, it's over, I don't even remember what the number was, over 100 pages. And I'm like, well, I don't know what a page consists of, like in terms of gameplay. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. This was really striking to me. I thought that this, like visually, creatively, this is a very unique looking game. And I know there are some other games that are, I think there's another game coming out that has a similar sort of hand drawn in a picture book sort of aesthetic. So I was like, is this that game? But I think it's actually different. But this looks really cool and pretty robust. And I'm pretty excited to just learn more about this game.
Another one where they didn't have a title card at the end, and I don't know when that game is coming out. So I missed that one and apologize that I don't have that info. But
it's okay.
Just another note there that like that was unusual. I was like watching it and couldn't figure it out. I'm sure they said it, but then they showed off Sonic Frontiers, which we all have seen in a couple of other presentations by now, but I don't know how this compares to what we've seen in previous ones, or I don't remember seeing quite this much information.
This is the best trailer they've done for this game so far. Yeah. minus the Switch blurriness. Like this was clearly Switch footage. You know, I think everything else we've seen on either PC or one of the higher end consoles, there was definitely like, okay, this is 30 frames per second. There's a lot of pop in. I mean, it's been pop in on all the trailers so far, but this had the most robust environments, right? Like this showed some of the open area sections that aren't just the main island that we've seen so far. And some of them looked really cool, like that highway area with all the kind of overlapping roadways and everything. That looks really cool. There was like a Green Hill Zone inspired area. I know a lot of people have been really, crapping on this game because it looks all super samey, but I think they've just been like withholding a lot of content.
It also, I don't remember if I remember the mechanic exactly perfectly, but you go into areas through some sort of portal or something, right? Like, isn't that what they showed off or explained? Did I make that up?
It seems like it. Yeah.
You're nodding your head.
Yeah.
That was,
it's like maybe the equivalent of like a dungeon. It's not a dungeon, but the way that you enter into a different part of the game that is different from the overworld.
Yeah. And that's
like Myst.
Maybe
it was like linking books throughout the island. Yeah.
Yeah. It confirms that like it won't all feel the same or whatever, like you're saying, David. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think anybody ever thought that. I just think that like the Sonic community is, just hella toxic sometimes and will complain about anything. And I think people have been like really shitting on this game, knowing full well that not everything has been revealed. Now that doesn't mean this game is going to be any good. I mean, Sonic Team does not have a good track record with their 3D Sonic games, but I'm definitely every time they show more of this game, we're getting a clearer view as to what this game actually is.
Then we got Live Alive got shown off again.
And hold on, now you're gonna skip Disney Dreamlight.
Oh no, I skipped Disney. My bad. Yeah, we saw
game of the show.
My bad. I actually didn't mean to. We did see Disney Dreamlight Valley come on September 6th, and this was the first of 3 or so life sim games. So like, if you're a life sim fan, you got your choice. Do you want RPG elements? Do you want a cute cartoon character? Or do you want a cute cartoon character?
Or do you want to play a Disney adult in a game?
Yeah. So yeah, it's sort of like Stardew Valley or something like that, but all your neighbors and friends are Disney and Pixar characters. So then Live Alive got shown.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
And there's a demo out now, which is cool.
It's great.
Yeah, for the first 3 chapters, I think is what it said, right?
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. And I think you get to pick between a few of the stories as well. So it seems to be a pretty robust demo here, which is great. And all the data transfers over. So it's basically just like they're releasing this game. You could start playing it now, even though it's coming out next month. But are you guys excited for this one? Did you guys download the demo?
Not yet, but I will.
Not yet, but yeah, same. I definitely not. Now there's a demo, especially at least check it out. But I'm interested in this game for sure.
Yeah, I haven't checked out the demo yet, but I've got it downloaded. That's certainly one that I'm going to play before it comes out. Make sure it's a purchase I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Then we got to see another life sim. This is a Doraemon: The Story of Seasons, Great Friends of the Kingdom. Super short name. If you want a life sim with a cartoon like character, here's your chance, your second chance. We got to see that. We got to see Minecraft Legends. Yeah, I don't know what to say about either of these games, honestly. If those are your things, though, I'm sure you're excited, so good for you. And then they showed off Dragon Quest Treasures, which looked kind of interesting, but I don't know if it appeals to me. December 9th. Did you?
Yeah, I totally tuned out during this. I mean, kind of whenever I see Dragon Quest, don't at me, I tune out. Dragon Quest is such a massive, thick fucking franchise. It's been throughout so many things. And Dragon Quest 11, everybody's like, it's amazing. But it's like, I know it's like 120 hours long. And it's like, I just can't with Dragon Quest, right? And so I'm not sure if this is a prequel to Dragon Quest 11 or if it's a Dragon Quest Builders game or a Dragon Quest. I don't know. If you know anything about Dragon Quest Treasures, we clearly were not paying attention.
Going out and finding treasure was sort of the thing, but I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever, man.
They showed off a sizzle reel here where they showed some things we already know about, like obviously Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes is out now. They squeezed that one in here. No Man's Sky, October 7th. That's already been talked about.
Looking good. No Man's Sky for Switch footage. I was like, damn, they did it. Looks pretty good. Hopefully that is just as smooth in practice as it was in that video, because that was looking pretty sweet.
A Plague Tale Requiem, the cloud version, if you wanted to play that, October 18th. And I did not quite understand this game because it was a weird sizzle reel game to show Captain Velvet Meteor, the Jump Plus dimension, July 28th. And I don't know what was happening. There's like a grid and things were dashing around, and I don't know anything about this, but
yeah, as I understand it, this is another turn-based game of some nature, but it definitely caught my eye, right? I mean, it's got kind of that super giant aesthetic, right? It kind of looks like Hades or Transistor or something like that, right? Like it's got a really so many of the games in this direct were like kind of blurry or muddy because they were clearly made for other systems and then ported to the Switch. This one was like a breath of fresh air. It was like super crisp and colorful, and it was like, oh shit, what the hell is that? You know, that kind of really caught my eye.
Yeah, and just a weird name and like crazy looking fast-paced mechanics that didn't really translate well for a quick show off for something you're not familiar with.
Yeah, or that title, like what the fuck? That's a fucking mouthful.
Exactly. Captain
Velvet Meteor, the Jump Plus dimensions. Not just one dimension, multiple.
And not just Jump Plus.
Jump Plus. That's a super big jump, guys. Real quick before we move on from these, I was happy to see Plague Tale Requiem on this. I'm happy to see cloud versions of games come to Switch if it's a game that was clearly never going to come to Switch otherwise, right? There's a bit of a conversation in the Discord today about all this Square Enix stuff and all the JRPGs that are coming to this. And I think that it's like that, and it's just like, why was Kingdom Hearts done as a cloud version, right? Like that question. It's like those games did not need to be that way. A game like Plague Tale Innocence or Plague Tale Requiem, that is just the rat physics alone would never work on the Switch, right? So it's like seeing this come as a cloud version, I think is pretty good. Although I can also imagine all the particle effects of all those rats will probably not compress very well over streaming. I bet that'll have some pretty bad artifacting on it. But I was just happy to see more games like that come as an option for people who like to do that stuff.
And then we got a little trailer for the Portal collection called the Portal Companion Collection, which has been shown off previously, but is out now. So I don't think we knew of a date previously, but we got that.
Portal 1 and Portal 2 are like masterpiece games as far as I'm concerned. Like I can pretty much find no wrong with them. And this is a $20 collection, right? Like I think somebody at Valve was not told that you could charge more for this game
on the Switch.
Yeah. Like, cause this is like such a great value. If you're listening to this right now and you've never played the Portal games before, like straight up buy this collection on the Switch. I hear it runs fantastically. The whole thing plays at 60 frames per second. It's got gyro. It's got all the added content from the previous console releases. This is definitely a must-have. I was very, very happy to see this, and to be one of the only shadow drops of the day was really nice as well. Yeah,
great fucking games.
Yeah, agreed.
Is it worth playing the first one? Like, I mean, I know they're both great games, but like, if you played the second one, like,
well, two is arguably
better, is what people said. That's why I played 2 when I played it. But
2 is arguably better, but like 1 is like a perfect game. Mm-hmm. It's like it's short, it's bite-sized.
It's not too long, right?
Yeah. You could beat Portal 1 in probably about 3 hours, but it's like I would actually not recommend anyone play 2 unless they've played 1, because A, you can beat 1 really quickly and it teaches you all the fundamentals, right? And B, it's just like the story of 2 hits so much harder after you've like been through everything from the first one and met the character of GLaDOS, right? Like the kind of main villain of the series. Like it's it's really incredible stuff. Like I'm so happy to see this drop. I cannot recommend these games enough. I'd get it right now if I didn't have both of them already on Steam on my Steam Deck.
And then we start coming to the close of this. A game called Harvestella coming on November 4th. Square Enix game. This is another life sim like game, though it's also seems like it has a lot of RPG elements to it. So like if Square did a life sim, that's kind of this is what you might expect, right? Like
it looks like a higher budget Rune Factory, right? Like
or like a more adult looking art. And I don't know. That's true, but
yeah, it definitely seems like finally everybody who saw that Animal Crossing was like one of the biggest selling games ever on the Switch were like, now their games are finally all coming out. You know what I mean? It's like the response to Animal Crossing is finally hitting the market, right?
All at once, yeah. So again, if you love these kind of games, you got your choice here. I don't know if there's anything else to say about Harvestella. I didn't really have much to say about it.
It washed over me.
Side ponytail is what jumped out at me.
I didn't even know. I didn't even notice that. Oh man.
And then the sort of way they closed, which was, I don't know if this had a little bit of the life taken out of it by leaks and stuff, or the fact that Xbox had this, but the Persona games, Persona 5 Royal, which was the only one that was dated for October 21st, and then Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable. They had a nice fun segment for those games to close out, which is great. I think, I've been wanting to play Persona 5 Royal, so maybe I'll play it on the Switch.
Yeah. This is a natural fit. I mean, everybody's been begging for this game since 2018, since Joker was revealed, right? For Smash. Like everybody's been begging for this game. And it's finally 4 years later. It's finally coming to the Switch. I started this on PS4 and I'm going to just abandon that save and pick this up on the Switch, I think. Yeah. I feel like it's my responsibility after begging for years for this to come to the platform.
It's up to you.
Matt, are you going to be picking up any of these Persona games?
Which one? Where do I start? I don't know anything about the Persona franchise, so I'm not sure. Like everyone tells me Persona 5 is great, but should I play the other ones?
I mean, Persona 5 is the best one, and I'm not a Persona expert. I kind of just like know about the zeitgeist. The old meme is like Persona fan happy to finally play Persona 5. You know what I mean? It's like all these people that like say they're Persona fans and haven't actually played any of them. But it's like, Persona 5 is like the most robust. It's the most modern. It's got kind of the most, it's got kind of the best story as I understand it as well. It's probably the best of the games. But I think Persona 4 is also very good. Persona 3 is also very good. So it's like starting with 5 is the logical way to go, and then if you enjoy the gameplay, move back. Just know that if you do that, you're losing
worse.
You're losing quality of life features as you go further and further back in time, right? And graphics and stuff like that. But I mean, I think that these are perfect portable games, right? Obviously P3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden were originally on the PSP and PS Vita respectively, right? So they were kind of like, stalwarts of portable gaming for a while. So it's nice to see Persona 5 finally be counted among those as another portable game. But I think you would be pretty safe starting with Persona 5. And it's like a very long game too. So it's not like you're going to be at a lack of content or anything like that.
Yeah. And that was it. That was the direct mini partner showcase. I don't know we already talked about it sort of overall at the top, but just sort of final thoughts on this. I think, especially if you're a Switch player.
One thing that I noticed that showed up on YouTube is Nintendo had a Treehouse. They have Nintendo Treehouse Plays, and they played Live Alive. Live Alive.
Yeah, it's the only one that you would never think that it would be is what it is.
Live Alive. They have Nintendo Treehouse Plays Live Alive.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that either. It's about 40 minutes long. Which probably tells us that this could have been connected to whatever Nintendo had plans for E3.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I think I did watch this, or at least I started it right while I was kind of making some lunch and or breakfast. I don't know what is time, but I was watching it, and then I actually turned it off because it was like, look, guys,
I don't want to. Yeah.
Hey, you're kind of showing a lot, and it's like the demo dropped today. They shadow dropped the demo, right? So it was like, I'll just play this. I don't need to see it, right? So I don't know that it was necessarily the best game for them to do a Treehouse presentation on. I think some of this other stuff in there that I want a little bit more clarity on, I think could have been better shown off. And maybe if if they had 3 days of Treehouse, they probably would have. But I think,
I hear you.
Showing
Disney Dreamlight Valley. Got it.
Exactly. I need to see
which of these 3
gameplay
Sims should I play.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm just glad to see that they still are doing Treehouse, and I think maybe what we can wrap this up with is like what we think might be coming still. I mean, do you guys think that clearly this was broken out of what would have been an E3 Direct? Do you think that we'll see more first party stuff from them before a September Direct, or do you think that this is it until then?
I think it's it. I think we'll see a Twitter drop for Mario Kart courses whenever that comes out. I think we'll see a Splatoon Direct maybe before another regular Direct.
Yeah,
maybe
Splatoon 3 comes out in September, so we could see a Splatoon.
Maybe that leads in another Direct.
Yeah,
something like that.
Maybe a week or two before a fuller September Direct that shows maybe 1 or 2 small or big games like the Metroid Prime thing we talked about coming this year, and then focuses on early 2023. I don't know, but I'm not sure. They can do whatever they want now.
I would not be surprised to see another Nintendo Direct Mini in the next month or so. I think that this felt like half a Direct, right?
You think they just want to stay in the news cycle kind of a thing, maybe, or something? Or
I don't think that the Xenoblade Direct that we discussed earlier in this episode today that we recorded all in one go. I don't think that was ever part of this Direct. I think that was too long. I think that was always planned to be its own presentation, right? I feel like there is stuff missing here, and yeah, they definitely might parse it out. But I would not be surprised if, say, on July 13th, we see another Nintendo presentation, this time live streamed and with all first party games. Heard it here.
July 13th, guaranteed. July 13th. You heard it here. July 7/13, 2022.
At 11 a.m. Pacific. No, but either way, yeah. I mean, I think that I think that we are going to get that Mario Kart stuff, and I think it's going to be bundled with some other first party Nintendo stuff as well. And I think we're going to be seeing some more of what we'll be seeing around November, December, in the coming weeks. That's my prediction anyway.
Well, we'll find out. And is there anything else anybody wants to say?
It was a good one.
Yeah. For a partner showcase.
2 thumbs up for me.
It was fun.
I was happy. It was nice to see. It was like, finally, dude, fucking Nintendo knows how to do these things. Like, directs are just so fun, right? It just it was well paced. It felt good. It was like, man, this is what has been missing from the past few weeks of E3, not E3, right? Like, I wish it came a week ago, when we were more in the news cycle of all the rest of them, right? But it was really nice to see. It was a breath of fresh air.
Well, let us know what your thoughts are on this are. I think then we'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the games we've been playing recently. I can't remember if I hinted at this or not earlier in the show, but I've been playing a lot of Mario Strikers Battle League, the new Mario Strikers game. I'm really getting into it, and I'm trying to get better. It is hard. I think we talked about this a lot on our episode about it, and you can listen to that if you want full details. But a couple of things I want to point out / clarifications, etc. about the game. I have had lag in an online game now. I don't think it is. It slows down. I said that wrong when we recorded.
Okay.
I have man, after you beat the cups in regular mode, you go to galactic mode and you play the cups, and that's where I am, and it gets hard. Like you can also, something I don't think I clarified well is that you can play quick matches online which are not ranked and not part of the like league stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done that like once and just trounced somebody. And then I have gone to the league and just get trounced. So I'm trying to get better so I can maybe play more in the middle. But I also tried to play in person with my cousin and with my friend Austin, and they both enjoyed the game. But I think it's that problem I talked about. It's a little hard to just get good at quickly. And so it's I'll wrap this up, but my last complaint about this game is it's so much more fun with a person though. Even just playing the cups and stuff, like the AI, I don't even care about the AI on the enemies, which maybe you can complain is frustrating, but the AI of your teammates is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Because they don't play well.
And I saw a post on Reddit that was like, next level should be ashamed of how they've programmed these AI or something like that.
I don't know if I feel like they should be ashamed of it.
Sued. Yeah.
But maybe I'm hoping that they might fix that, because playing single player in the difficult cups, I'm like, what? Get the ball, because it's right there, and my team is just standing there, or like I'm dribbling and they're running up the field and they turn around.
It's like a children's soccer game. They're like poking at a bug or something.
Yeah, exactly. Run to the goal so I can pass it to that character. So that's why it's more fun playing with a real person, because even though that Austin and Vincent weren't very good at the game yet, they had that intuition of like, I'll go get the ball, or I will run so you can pass it to me. And I get a little frustrated playing solo on these cups, but I still like the game and I want to get better. And if you're out there listening to this, you want to play with me, reach out, because I need people to play with. So that's me. That's mostly, both, and also in both instances, they got them into the game a little bit and they're like, we're having fun. And then we like lost hard. And then they're like, can we just play Smash? Both times.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's funny.
Settle it in Smash.
Yep.
I'll go next. How about that? I have been playing Strikers a little bit, playing more TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Such a good brawler. Maybe one of the best brawlers, 2D brawlers.
That's what I've heard. I've heard it's the best brawler of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
it's great. It's fun. I haven't been playing too many other games because I've been catching up on The Boys TV show on Amazon Prime about superheroes, and that has only increased my dystopian views of the world.
You know what'll increase your dystopian views of the world? Knowing that the guy who plays Homelander in real life is also a huge dick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, this makes sense.
He was in like France at like a bistro, and someone got his order wrong, and he's like, "Do you know who I am?"
And Nintendo sent him a free copy of it.
He loves Metroid. Homelander loves Metroid.
Yeah.
But that's a great show, man. I'm so impressed by its writing, its ability to like go hard on the rated R.
I've only seen the first season of that show. I need to get caught up, but I'm still watching Better Call Saul, so I'm like getting caught up on that right now. But it's like I will at some point, but I do remember it's just like they do the shock value in a way where it's clearly done for shock value, but it's so effective every single time. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
David, what have you been playing, dude?
Oh yeah. So I've been playing a good number of games. Like I said earlier in the show, I've been playing Sonic Origins, which really is a great collection. It's like really excellently done. We've got some beautiful animations in there. It's just nice playing these games in widescreen on like an OLED Switch. It just feels really, really good in the hands. It's like, I think Sonic Mania was one of the standout games for the Switch. Like when the Switch came out, I know that's what you saw me playing, which made you want to get a Switch originally, Patrick. And it's like, this just feels like that. And it feels like a lot more content. There's like a story mode, which allows you to just play through all the acts of all the Sonic games as one big long Sonic game with all the like powerhouse animations, like interstitially between them. That kind
Wow.
More collections should do that. That's a really cool idea because I feel like, you beat one and then you're like, you got to get out and then go start a new game. It's not like a big deal, but it would make that feel kind of cool.
Yeah,
It
strings them all together as one game.
That's cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, that means you have to get through Sonic 1 and CD before you get to the good games. But because I will say, man, I finally, because you can like retry bonus levels in this now, and there's no lives in this now, I'm actually trying to get all the emeralds. Like, I've never given a shit about getting all the emeralds in a Sonic game. It's hard, right? And so it's like in Sonic 1, getting all the emeralds is a fucking nightmare, dude. Like, it's like the bonus levels in Sonic 1 are like a nightmare. Like, it's like impossible to control. It feels terrible. The music is repetitive and insane. And then even getting there, like, you have to beat the whole level with 50 rings, where in later Sonic games they made it to where it's at checkpoints you can do it, right? And so it's just like, I finally did it, but I'm like, I think that's why I'm in a weird mood today, because I was working on that for a while. But anyway, Sonic Origins is a blast. They're classic games. They're really good. And I agree. I want more game collection re-releases to put this amount of like kind of cohesion in it. It's a really cool release. So good on you, Sega. You finally did one. Let's see. I played a little bit of Fall Guys. Like I said, I played the Klonoa demo. Klonoa Phantom Reverie series, I believe. So Fantasy Reverie series is the Klonoa collection that's coming to Switch. There's a demo up on the Japanese shop that's fully in English, and it's great. It's straight up like each Klonoa 1 and 2 both have 2 levels you can play in the demo, and they both feel really good and they look great. Again, that's another super colorful, bright, vibrant game that looks great on the OLED. So I cannot wait for the Klonoa games to come out. I'm a huge Klonoa fan. Good month for platformers between Sonic, Klonoa, Neon White, which is in and of itself a great platformer. So there's lots of great stuff on there. On Steam, I bought Inscription.
Oh, I love Inscription.
I started playing that, and that's a very good game. There's a Steam sale going on right now, so I finally picked that up. That was on my wish list, and just been waiting for it to get like under $20. It's got a crazy vibe, right? The whole kind of like vibe of it is really cool, and I like that it doesn't play like Slay the Spire. Like Slay the Spire and Inscription are 2 very different kinds of card games, and they're both super fun, and so I'm really enjoying that. I've only played it a little bit, but I'll get a little bit further in it. I tried a demo for Agent 64 Spies Never Die. Did you guys hear about that? It's like the GoldenEye style.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
New game?
I don't know if it's going to be any good, but it's like an indie game made in the GoldenEye 64 style. Like down to the, like, whenever you get shot, you're like or like so I don't know if this game's gonna be any good, but it was fun to at least play the demo a little bit. I think it's coming to Switch as well.
Lots of GoldenEye in the zeitgeist too, because there's a GoldenEye documentary called Golden Era that
really
that discusses the history and cultural influence of GoldenEye, how it basically launched big first person shooter games in the whole industry.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want that.
What do you mean?
I liked GoldenEye, but I didn't like that doesn't appeal to me. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
You don't like the muddiness of GoldenEye.
Yeah,
like
and
that's not what's
characters.
nostalgic to you about that
right?
game.
It was the experience of playing, like you were just saying, kind of, Matthew, of like this breaking open a genre for everybody and playing with your friends and stuff. And
it's
like, I didn't even like the Bond aspect of it. I don't need any of that.
It feels like a meme game. Yeah, this Agent 64 game. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. You made a GoldenEye. Good for you. Anyway, it was worth it. But lastly, I did want to say I have moved on to. I finally started playing Metal Gear Solid 4, and I'm loving it so far. It's incredible so far. Every Metal Gear Solid game, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that game's great," but it's got this problem and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't care. Every Metal Gear Solid game has felt perfect to me so far, and I'm absolutely enjoying it. I've beaten the first 2 chapters. It's a blast. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 is incredible, and there's no other game like it. And I doubt there ever will be a game like it again. It's just like what Kojima ended up doing with the characters that we all grew to know and love in the first like 2 or 3 games is just really insane. Seeing the ways that the stories have gone. And yeah, and people were not lying. It's basically just a movie with a little bit of gameplay sprinkled throughout, which is totally fine for me for a streaming game. I'm like, hell yeah. I just like don't give a fuck. Anytime a cinematic comes up, I'm like, yes. So I'm very much enjoying it. Thanks again to Jay Rios for letting me his PS3 to play that game.
I think Metal Gear Solid 4 is like 8 or 9 hours worth of cutscenes, and like one of them has like is 20 minutes as in the shortest, and then the longest one is like an hour.
Yeah, I definitely have been. Yeah, and you can't pause or like skip them. That's why it has you save whenever you finish them, because if you don't, you have to like watch that whole thing again.
Gosh,
yeah.
How many like parents are like, come down for dinner? I can't. I'm like,
Mom, I fucking can't. I don't want pizza rolls. Anyway,
watching Guns of the Patriots.
You're playing a gun game? Mom, it's anti-war. It's anti-nuclear proliferation.
Good stuff.
Anyway, that's what I've been playing.
Very good. Well, I think that does it for this episode. Then
apologies to my neighbors. Oh, God, sorry. One of my neighbors told me recently, they're like, oh yeah, these walls are paper thin. We hear everything. And I was like, God damn it.
Well, that's it then. Thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, I am PDYX.
I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheadz.com, and you can join our Discord and Facebook group, the links to both of which will be in the description of this video or podcast, wherever you are listening or watching. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it on our episode on the... holy shit, Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcases are back! And in a big way, in a big 25-minute long way. What a great time. We enjoyed that one, didn't we, boys? We're going to be back. Who knows? We'll see tomorrow. But not you guys. You guys have seen it already. I'm going to stop talking. We're going to be back next week with an all brand new episode. It's going to be a good one. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. But we got a cool guest. We got a really cool topic. So I can't wait for you guys to hear that one next week. And then other than that, everybody, you guys stay safe out there. Get those booster shots. I've been talking to some people recently. They're like, I haven't got my booster shot yet. It's like, dude, get your fucking booster shot. All right? Because you've been putting it off for long enough. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Get the shot. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. And, let's all march into the cosmos together as one single unit of love, happiness, and respect forever. Until next week, folks. We love you. Bye-bye.